What it do, man? It's 420 Boxing Network. You already know what it is. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. So tonight is going down. We have none other than Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz going. And I love this fight. I love this fight. These guys been jawing back and forth for a while. They've been talking on Twitter back and forth. They don't like each other. But we have to remember why these two are even fighting. It was supposed to be Jojo Diaz versus Ryan Garcia. Now remember that. Ryan, once again, pulled out of the fight. So we have Devin Haney versus Jojo. Devin Haney said, I'll fight you. Since nobody wants to fight me and you don't have an opponent, Jojo Diaz says, hell, bring it on. So I respect both of these guys. But you have to remember also that Devin Haney called out Jojo Diaz before the Ryan Garcia fight. And Jojo says, no, Devin Haney, I'll fight Ryan Garcia first before I fight you. Now, we all know what happens when fighters do that. We all know what the case is. When a fighter says, I'm going to fight this guy before I fight you, that means you're the more dangerous opponent. You're the more feared opponent. You're the better opponent. We seen Errol Spence do this to Terrence Crawford. He said, yeah, Terrence, I'll fight you, but why would I fight you now when I can fight Sean Porter first? That's the way boxing goes, man. Floyd did it to Manny Pacquiao for years. For years. You know what I mean? So that's just the game. That's just the game. That's the business side of it. I don't want to risk my money by losing. So I'm going to go fight the easier fight first. Unfortunately, that's the game. I mean, we didn't have that in the 80s. You know, even the 90s. When Mike Tyson and De La Hoya was doing their thing. We didn't have that. No. But these fighters today, man, they're fighting for money. And the guy who's fighting for money is going to be the guy who loses. You know, it's going to be the guy who's at a disadvantage, in my opinion. The guy who says, hey, I'm just fighting you because it's a big fight. They making me fight you. He's at a disadvantage when he meets the guy who wants to fight him because I'll fight you now. I'll fight you later. I'll fight you whenever. It don't matter about no money. That's what boxing is. That's what boxing is. Boxing is for, we fighting to see who's the best. We talk about the money later on. So, I'm just saying, we got to remember what was happening with the Devin Haney, Jojo Diaz situation. We got to remember that. So, all this is going into my decision on who I think is going to win the fight. You know, so is that aspect of it. Jojo Diaz, by fighting Ryan Garcia first, is letting me know that he respects Devin Haney's skill set, no matter what he say in the build up to the fight. So that lets me know he respects him as a dangerous opponent. You know. Then when we go look at the tail of the tape, okay, we got Devin Haney here. He's a guy who want to box on the outside. He's an orthodox fighter. This is the ultimate style clash. This is the ultimate style clash. You have Devin Haney, who's an orthodox fighter, who wants to fight on the outside, versus Jojo Diaz, who's a southpaw and wants to fight on the inside. He wants to close the distance. Devin Haney wants to keep the distance. Ultimate style clash at its finest. But when I look at the tail of the tape, I see, hold on. Devin Haney got a 7-inch reach advantage. So Devin Haney is a little bit bigger. Jojo came in at 134. Devin Haney came in at 135. And he's thinking about moving up to 140. So when I'm looking at the tail of the tape, it makes me believe that the physical attributes favors the boxer, Devin Haney. Devin Haney wants to stay on the outside. He wants to keep the distance. That 7 inches of reach is going to help him do that. So I got to favor the boxer in this fight. I favor the boxer anyway over the brawler. But when that boxer has a 7-inch reach advantage, I feel a little bit more comfortable. When I pick the boxer, I feel a little bit more comfortable when I see that he got a 7-inch reach advantage. Not only that, when I look at Jojo Diaz, when I see him fight, I don't think he ever moves his head. He keeps a high guard, but he doesn't move his head. That could be a factor in this fight. He's a southpaw, so he's going to be open to those right hands. We all know southpaws are susceptible to those right hands. That may be Devin Haney's best weapon, is his right hand. So it's kind of favoring Devin Haney, in my opinion. And then when I look at Jojo Diaz's opponents, yeah, he fought credible opponents. The Gary Russell Jr.'s, the Tevin Farmers, guys like that. But when I look at his opponents, most of the guys he fought were southpaw, like himself. And we all know what southpaw versus southpaw brings. Those are always going to be, all those are going to be entertaining fights because the punches are coming at all different angles. Those fights are usually punch for punch type of fights. Southpaw versus southpaw. So when you look at his fight with even the Russian guy, he fought, he was a southpaw. He fought a draw too. He had a draw with the Russian. He was a southpaw. Gary Russell Jr. was a southpaw. Javier Fortuna was a southpaw. I see mostly Jojo fighting. That's odd to me. That's odd because most fighters, they stay away from southpaws. You know what I mean? If you go to, number one, is not that many of them. I'm surprised it was that many in that division. And he's one of them. Well, this time he's going to be fighting an orthodox fighter. Now, I feel like, of course, the southpaw stance is going to give Devin Haney problems because he fights using a shoulder roll. And the shoulder roll is designed for defense against orthodox fighters. Catch the jab here, roll the right hand, block the hook. It's for orthodox fighters. Now, if that fighter is southpaw, it's a little bit different. You have to fight a little bit different. Now, I want to see if Devin Haney knows what he has to do. This is going to let me know if Devin Haney is elite or is he just very good. Because it's a certain way you have to jab southpaw fighters when you're orthodox, especially when you're a boxer. It's a certain way he's going to have to jab. So if you want to win this fight, he's going to have to keep turning him. He's going to have to keep turning Jojo. Every time he land a right hand, turn this way. Turn him this way to where he can't get his shots off. If he can do that, he can make this fight very easy for himself. Do that little up jab. You have to do a little inside. You have to jab in the inside. It's an inside jab against a southpaw fighter. Now, if he can do that, it's going to be a long night for Jojo. But the key to most fights, like I say, it's going to be the body work. If you want to make the fight even easier, he has to go to the body. So it's going to be three main things that Devin Haney must do if you want to make this fight very easy for him. Number one, he's going to have to go to Jojo Diaz's body to slow that guy down. He's going to have to use his footwork to turn Jojo Diaz. And he's going to have to jab, use an inside jab. And this fight will be very easy for him. Now, Jojo Diaz, he can win the fight if he does these things. He's going to have to, if you want to win, he's going to have to jab with Devin Haney. Every time Devin is jabbing, you jabbing. You jab with the jabber. Because if you don't jab with him, you're going to find yourself just looking for big shots. And you're not going to land those shots. And then you're going to look up, you're going to be down on the scorecards. So that's why you have to jab to stay busy.